Hello and welcome to my Kashtira deck profile for the competitive format March 2023. I'm Moz and I will be explaining and walking you through my Kashtira deck profile and explaining my ratios, personal preferences going into the format and how I'll be playing the pure version of the deck. So we'll jump right in. So, start off, this deck has a lot of room for hand traps. So we play 3 Imperm, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Mourner, and 3 Shifter. So 12 hand traps, it's just a very heavy lineup. For any deck, 12, but you've got so much room to play this many, and with the amount of starters you already have in the deck, you can just... They basically buy your turns if you clog up with them, or the end turns on their own if you time them right. So just having the access to multiples and having the room for them is one of the things that makes the deck ridiculously strong. So Impermanence is just really good at the minute, especially in the mirror match. And it hits a lot of other decks at the minute, especially a lot of the rogue strategies that are relying on those one card normal summon starters, or even to just like have on-field cards that require their setups. So Imperm's just really good in general. Ash Blossom again, really good against the mirror match, especially good against Labyrinth at the minute. Mourner again, like with Imperm being a very good hand trap. I choose to play Mourner over Veiler because if you are in the mirror match and you're under the Arise Heart, you can't use it, or if you are getting macros in a macro format or you've been shifted, at least this just requires the discard instead of Veiler, which specifies you have to go to the grave. And then Shifter, sometimes your plays get cut short, or it basically ensures that you get an Arise Heart effect. So you still get the benefit of Arise Heart, everything's still getting banished, and then you can divert into something like Mind Hacker if you're just not getting the full combo, or if your plays are just cut short. It gives you what you want and also buys you the turn that you want, especially if you're against a graveyard reliant deck. So that is the hand trap lineup. For the engine, you play 3 Kashtira Unicorn. This is your starter card. This gets you everything that you need. Just on its own, it grabs Theosis, which floats into Fenrir, and then you start your plays off. So you want to open Unicorn. And then 3 Fenrir. Fenrir again is one of your other starters. You don't particularly want to open with this one, which is why at the minute, like, if you're against Kashtira, people think they've opened with Fenrir, it's safe to Ash. If you know you're against Kashtira and they're opening with Fenrir and trying to start the plays with Fenrir, then of course it's not a bad shout, but at the same time it's not something you ideally want to be starting with, or even a good hand trap shout, because they'll probably have other things. The Rise Heart, you play at 3, it's a nice extender. You want to get this as consistent as possible, play it as thick as possible, just as these 9. So if you're finding variations of these two, it's going to be a really strong hand anyway. And Rise Heart can banish your Theosis, recur Kashtiras, or even get Big Bang and start on equipping Kashtiras underneath your XZs in order to make more plays. So Rise Heart is probably one of the best extenders in the deck. And then you have the Scareclaw and the Terra Elements Kashtira. The Scareclaw is pretty good for outing things like Baguska if they're floating into that, because Plan B, sadly enough, is quite annoying. But it's also a really good extender, as well as the Kashtira. So the Kashtira, you can mill 3 off your opponent's deck, see what they're playing, or you can mill 3 into your deck to try and get some things engraved, which you can float into the Scareclaw if you've got that in hand or access to that. But the main thing with these two is that having these extenders allows you to get into like multiple zone locks, sometimes even 9 if you've got access to both. And if you've got it paired with Birth or the full combo, then you're just going nuts and you get everything you want. You play 3 Pleasure Planet. This just grabs any Kashtira monster, so you grab Unicorn, starts your plays, or if you've got Unicorn, you grab an Extender, the Rise Heart, or whatever you need. It just grabs that missing piece. And of course, you can search that off Terraforming, so you might as well just play the Terraforming. 39 card decks don't. so grabs all of the Kashtira monsters you want. And then Theosis, it's an E-Telly for any Kashtira monster, as long as it's the different attribute, so you just summon a different one anyway. So you get the benefit of Unicorn and Fenrir together. They're actually 2 really good interruptions, even if you just Theosis them. And then 3 Birth. This can be a little bricky, but when you've got it paired with anything that has the combo, so if you've got a Kashtira and a Theosis, or if you've got the planet, you could search Theosis off of the Unicorn instead of grabbing the Birth, or if you've got the Birth, you can just grab the Theosis, and then you end up generating like +2, +3 advantage, especially if you've got Big Bang in deck to send off of the Rise Heart. 3 Pot of Prosperity. You can play, you don't have to play it, but it's just really good because it just allows you to look into the next hand, fix that hand up, or even just grab that missing piece that turns your standard combo into either a 9-zone lock or just like a full 5 lock with a macro on legs. So just having the consistency of Prosperity in this deck and being able to use it is pretty crazy. Then Triple Tactics Talent and Book of Eclipse as my, I guess, board breakers. They're mostly there for the mirror match. You side the other copies, so you can just rotate those in depending on which is more favorable. But Eclipse is really good this format anyway, so if you get Eclipsed or if you're getting Lava Golem, it's a nice little interruption that you can flip back on your opponent and just buy you that turn so you can flip your stuff back up. Or Triple Tactics if you're facing a Kashtira board anyway. The mandatory effect of a Rise Heart, you can probably proc it with the talent. So steal what you want, or even just use their Rise Heart to your advantage. And then Big Bang. It is a nightmare when you draw it. You can pitch it off of the extenders, provided you've already got the setup or like Shanghara out. But the best thing about Big Bang is it just, by unequipping any Kashtira under the Kashtira XEs, it just generates a ton of advantage and allows you to go into another XE or just have that loose Kashtira to just summon Rise Heart on top if you've already activated Shanghara. So that's it for the main deck. The extra deck. Play Baron de Fleur. I really like playing Baron in this because if Unicorn play gets interrupted and you just have a loose Ghost Girl, or if you've already opened Birth and you have full combo, you can literally just summon the Unicorn, grab Theosis, use Theosis. And if you've got access to the Birth or vice versa, you got access to the Theosis, you activate the Birth, you synchro away the Ghost Girl and the Kashtira for the Baron, so you've got protection from like Nibiru, other hand traps, and then you can use Birth then to reborn back the Kashtira you've just synchroed away. So it's so free in the right context, whether or not it's just an extender or just it can be part of your end board. Big Eye is just really good to permanently steal things. What's even funnier is if the people Chaos Hunter you can steal that and just carry on your plays. You just steal anything problematic and just add to your board, or just push for an OTK, or just whack a Zeus on top of whatever you've stolen off your opponent. It's really good in the mirror match as well because it just ends up helping you. I play 2 Mind Hacker. I like Mind Hacker because late game it can just be devastating. It's really good just to see what your opponent's playing in general, and you can just generate quite a lot of advantage off of the cards if you're banishing like somewhat important pieces, like if your opponent's playing a one-off they need. So it can be quite nice. 3 Shanghai. Don't need to play 3. But I played 3 because I couldn't find Draco Sack. You can still play Draco Sack because it's really good. But 3 Shanghai, it's more than enough. You end up making 2 if you want to go into the 9 zone lock. So if you're playing 3, at least you've got a third in there if that doesn't go to plan. But what it does is it zone locks your opponent every time you force them to banish a card face down, which Mind Hacker does, Rise Heart does, and a Rise Heart when you actually banish a card face down. So you're just locking zones, and then the lock zone isn't actually a once per turn. Like, you can do that with 2 of these out, so you're locking 2 at a time every time you do it. And then every standby phase, you can summon Unicorn or Fenrir and just have another interruption out with your board, which is free. 2 Kashtira Rise Heart. It's macro on legs. You don't really need any more than 2. It's hard enough getting 3 materials underneath it as well, especially if your opponent's playing very aggressively and it's just looking like it's not working out. But just having the macro on legs over just the 1 Kashtira card, it just adds to the board significantly. And without this card, the end board isn't really that good. But it's so free. 2 Zeus. It's an XYZ deck. You're going to play the card that literally sends the board if you're in dire need of it. There have been times where they've just had towers, or not towers, End Punisher, and you just make this after you've deliberately made your life points lower and just clear the board. Or if you just need to clear the board, you can make or scramble your way to any XE and just go straight into Zeus. It'll just save you the game. 2 Linger Evo, you got the room to worry about Ibli. Plenty of decks playing Ibli as a tech at the minute. You don't want to get locked out, so you might as well just play a card that deals with the problem. Dark, which is another reason you play it. You can just go straight into Ibli, or you use the Ibli that they've given you, and you can go straight into Dark and generate advantage from your opponent's grave if they have anything of use. And then Dawn of Dagger for hire. It's a nice little tech card because at least if you're playing Nibiru, you can out the token if it's enormous, especially in a Kashtira mirror, or if you're playing against Bagushka, but it deals with that. So yeah, it's a nice amount of room to even expand your toolbox into like Draco Sack or even another rank 7 that you find could be quite useful. So that has been my Kashtira deck profile. Please comment, like, subscribe, tell me what you think, talk to me. I'm happy to hear your opinions and suggestions, and I will respond to everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.